Good morning all, I hope you're having a great weekend. It's time for me to start planting all of my veggies here on the homestead. Now, although I've only had the house for 2 years, I bought it in the spring, so this is actually my third time round with all the planting. And luckily the ground here is extremely fertile, so without too much effort, everything seems to grow really well. The weather here is still a little bit up and down, of course, being spring, but the temperatures overnight are not getting down very low, so I'm not worried about a frost killing off my plants. Normally I buy everything I need from my local market, but this year someone has suggested I go straight to the source and head to Ortoplant, which is where all of the market stall holders go to get their produce. So in a moment I'm going to head there, and then I'm going to make a little plan for how I want everything to look in the veg patch. And then hopefully once I finish planting, I'll get to take you somewhere nice, as it's a beautiful day today.
So how it works here is that you go to the front desk and give them a list of everything you want to buy. They write it down for you and give you a numbered greenhouse which you head to, and then you wait there while somebody goes round with a golf buggy and selects everything for you. Boot full of plants, it's time to head home and start planning out where I want everything to go. It's probably a slightly unnecessary and time-consuming step, but I like to have a visual representation of what it will look like. Plus, I just really enjoy the creative process. Last errand before I can make a start, and that's to go and pick up some petrol for the rotavator. Fortunately, my neighbour has already been over the ground twice with his tractor, so hopefully just a couple of goes over with the rotavator will make the soil ready for planting. I do not feel good after that, I can tell you. I'd completely forgotten that we removed a fence from the garden just so that I could power up the motozappa, I can't think of the word in English, rotavator I think, to transport it uphill, which is quite stony, to the actual land itself. And so I did it with the power off, and it was such a nightmare. I got really angry with myself that I couldn't do it, and then I used the anger to propel me forward eventually, and I managed to get it here. Doing the actual rotavating wasn't too bad in the end. So I've got my huge space ready, and now I'm going to show you everything I've got to plant today. I've brought this table outside to put all of my equipment on, which is very handy. Now these are the plants I picked up from Ortoplant. Last year I was a complete idiot and I planted everything at the same time, and then of course it grew at the same time and I had an excess of everything, and then I didn't have the right things when I needed them. So I'm just doing it bit by bit this year. I did spend around €40 in total, although I have to say that these tomato plants I bought are extra resistant, so they were a lot more expensive than the normal ones I buy. Generally they cost around €1 per pot, and these were €4 per plant, so that's why the total was a little bit higher than it usually is. And then I've also got a few seeds which are good for planting at this time. I've got some new gloves because the pigs ate my other ones, and please do me a favour and shout at me in the comments if you see me not wearing gloves, because I'm trying extra hard this year to make sure I protect my hands. And then I've got my metal rods that you probably saw in my last video for the tomato plants. I've got this kind of stick and string thing that's going to help me hopefully stay in a straight line, but it doesn't usually work out that way. And then I've got some kind of plastic label thingies, and of course the master plan itself. As you can see, the wind's picking up quite a bit, so I might have to get moving as fast as I can. Marked out the phases for the different rows of tomatoes and lettuces as well. Although you can see that the first few layers of soil are very, very dry, once you get a little bit further down, the texture is actually very fudgy and clay-like, and it gets stuck to the trowel very easily. Pumpkins and melons are the only things I'm going to plant directly into the ground as seeds. I've done this for the past couple of seasons and they've grown really, really well. Right, I'm by no means finished, but it's nearly 3 o'clock now and I'm starting to feel a little bit lightheaded because I haven't had any lunch yet. And also I really want to get to the Good Friday procession in Chieti because I want to be able to share that with you too in a separate video. So I'm going to leave it here for now and just water what I've already planted and come back to it first thing tomorrow morning. Now, I've got absolutely no idea why I have so many different varieties of melons. I think I'm just going to pick a couple of my favourites, which will definitely be Honeydew and Sugar Baby. Right, I'm pretty much done now, and it doesn't look exactly like my diagram, but it's close enough. Even though it doesn't look like much at the moment, I'll give you a quick tour of everything I've got. So this row here is my green beans, and then over here we've got the first phase of tomatoes, and then I've left a lot of space, as you can see, in the middle for the next 4 rows. Now, if you're wondering why I need so many tomatoes, it's because I like to make all my pasta sauce for the year as well as just eating them. And then over here I've got my iceberg lettuces, and again there'll be a phase 2 of planting those because I love salad. When these tomato plants start to get a little bit taller, I will use this special device I bought which dispenses ribbon and keeps the plant growing up along the stake. So time to give everything a really good water and keep everything crossed. Just over here you can see that my figs are already doing really well. The good thing about all the rain we've had recently is that these big water tanks are completely full, which means I should be fine watering all of my produce this summer.
So I've just had a shower and I thought I'd take a moment to watch some of the footage back, and I have to say that honestly it looks deadly boring. It's just mountains of dry earth, and especially in this world of instant gratification that we live in, the fact that I can't show you any progress for a couple of months is probably not the most entertaining thing I've ever filmed. So if you're still with me, I salute you, and hang on in there because in a moment I'm going to take you somewhere much more aesthetically pleasing.
One of our friends who lives in Bologna is home for Easter, so we're heading to the Trabocchi Coast, famous for its rugged cliffs, pebbled beaches and traditional wooden fishing platforms called Trabocchi that stretch out into the Adriatic Sea and where you can eat the most delicious fresh seafood. This is also where the Via Verde starts, a scenic 42-kilometre cycle and pedestrian path stretching from Ortona to Vasto along the Adriatic coast. There are plenty of places to rent a bike, and although I can't actually ride one, which I appreciate is fairly unusual for a woman in her 30s, but I've noticed that they have a 3-wheeled version with a carriage on the back for a dog, so that's definitely the one I'll be opting for. Just down the road is the medieval town of Ortona. It is famous for the Cathedral of St. Thomas the Apostle, where the saint's relics are kept, and its role in World War II during the Battle of Ortona, often called the Western Stalingrad. we decided to visit the Castello Aragonese, dramatically positioned on top of a cliff. It was constructed in 1452 over earlier medieval fortifications to defend against sea attacks. Although partially destroyed during World War II and a subsequent landslide, its surviving towers and walls remain a striking landmark along the Costa dei Trabocchi. After the castle, it was time to enjoy the last of the sunshine in the medieval centre of Ortona. I came across the most wonderful pet shop that sold dog-friendly Aperol Spritz and many other aperitif items that I'm sure my very spoilt dog would appreciate. There was just about time to squeeze in an ice cream before heading home, pistachio and raspberry cheesecake for me. Everything went to plan, and the big storm that we were expecting arrived just in time to give my plants a good old soaking. Thank you so much for spending the last few days with me. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I will see you again soon.